Yo, like, subscribe, follow, download. Giddy up.
That's my baby. That's my baby.
We're going at it at 110%.
I just want 5 minutes of happiness, please. Just give me 5 minutes.
And they scored. They did it.
Left, beat left.
What the hell was that?
Oh, yeah!
What the fuck are you talking about?
Hi, folks. Bob Mannery here. You're listening to A2D Radio, real sports talk radio for the fans, by the fans, no agenda. These guys are the best in the business. Hashtag it. No notes.
Let's go. This is Monday Morning Quarterback, only on A2D Radio. We are brought to you by the Counseling Center and Sunrise Detox. And we know many of us and our families deal with mental health and addiction issues. We're happy to support the Counseling Center and Sunrise Detox. If you need help, please call 856-651-8117. Tom Arnone, Ryan Broder, the family out there joining us. A ton to talk about. We'll go Sixers, Pacers, what's some of the reaction to that game leading into the Sports Hounds. They'll be on here at 7:30 tonight. And Joel Embiid, and I was one at another very questionable tonight, which is fun. Tobias Harris out. So doesn't look good, but it's the NBA. Anything can happen. They like to say, I don't know where it happens from. You know, Seth Curry said go 1 for 13. We need to go maybe 13 for 13. Phillies Spring Training begins. Okay, and listen, it doesn't matter at all. And they didn't lose today, but they didn't win. That's spring training baseball for you. And it means absolutely nothing, but it is great. Baseball is back. And it was great to watch some baseball today, even though it meant absolutely nothing. Sixers, latest news and rumors. You know, I heard a lot of people want to talk about Oladipo today. Hear a lot of Oladipo. You know, I don't know how you pull that off, but we'll talk some rumors and things like that, and we'll have another poll question for everybody that they can vote on, and we'll talk about that about 30 minutes in. But our main topic at hand is going to be the Eagles' biggest mistakes since 2018. Since 2018. And you really could go, I mean, this could go back further than that. I mean, it doesn't even have to, you know, you could say 2016. I mean, you could sit here and say Eagles' biggest mistakes since 2016, but we're going to say 2018, and it ties into our poll question. Brought to you by bodycheckwellness.com. And you can use promo code A2D for 20% off at checkout. That's bodycheckwellness.com. Promo code A2D, 20% off at checkout. And our poll question is Jalen Hurts. The drafting of Jalen Hurts was the Eagles' biggest mistake since 2018. Do you agree or disagree? Let us know. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. That's where you can find us live. Everywhere you get your podcasts, we're there as well. Like, subscribe, follow, download, review, whatever you got to do. If you're over on YouTube, like. If you're on Facebook right now, like. If you're over on Twitter, retweet, like. If you're on Twitch, whatever you can do on Twitch, do it. I don't know what it would be. I mean, I just want to say hello, I guess. Say hello wherever you're at. To the poll, and I know many people would tune in right now and they're going to say, oh, I agree. Tom's going to agree to this. You know what I mean? Tom's automatically going to agree to this. And there's a lot of things that I can agree on with it. There really is. Like, you know, what message did you send your team last year by doing this in the second round, right? So mistakes, I could say agree for the mistake of too early, right? I mean, I could say agree right there. All right, but I'm not gonna go agree on this one because there's too many misses. And I just said 2016, right? 2016, 2017, there are a lot of misses, especially from 2017 up, right? You want to talk to me about Dallas Goedert and Miles Sanders, whoop-de-doo. Okay, there's a lot of misses, and that's why I disagree. Because I'm not even going to put the weight on last year's class fully, and I'm not in on Jalen Reagor or Jalen Hurts like that. But I'm not even putting the weight on it because I got to see him for another year. I got to see him after the rookie year. Can you develop? Can you get better? And then if not, then I'm crushed city. Okay, but right now I got to at least give it one more year, no matter how I felt about each of the picks and where they were slotted on last year's draft. But I can go back the year before that. I mean, the year before that alone. I mean, Andre Dillard looks like a miss. That's a first-round left tackle. This organization has prided themselves in not missing on them picks. All right. And right now, all we know is crying in the locker room and injured. So I don't know what he is either. But I mean, there's already been 2 years of it. There's already been 2 years that have gone, that came and gone. And what have I seen? 2 games, 4 games out of Andre Dillard. So I don't even know. So right now, it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good. And then in that same draft, all right, okay, you can say Miles Sanders is a good pick. I'll agree with you. All right, but the pick after JJ, all right, you missed on a first and a second round pick in that draft. You're just lucky you had 2 of them. You're just lucky you had 2 picks in the second round to be able to hit on one of them. All right, not even that draft. Sorry, Andre Dillard. It was Dillard. No, it was Dillard. It was Dillard, JJ. Yeah, Dillard, JJ, and Miles. Yeah. No, not Miles. It was, Miles. Or was it Dallas?
Yeah, Miles.
No, it was Miles. Yeah, I thought I had it right. I just thought I drew a blank there. Did I have that right? But
it's all a blur. It's all together.
It's all together. So you missed on your first 2 picks, okay? And then you had Miles in there. It was a good pick, okay? Mm-hmm. But you look at that. I mean, come on, that's not good enough right there. So I'm going to disagree that it's just Jalen Hurts. I mean, I'm not even there. I'm not even at him yet. This is how bad you've done for your organization since then. On mistakes. Okay, I mean, who else in the first round could I have besides Andre Dillard? Or who went after Andre Dillard? That's a playmaker in this league right now. In some fashion, doesn't have to be a tackle or anything. I'm sure there's freaking 10 names that are better than him that went after him at least. Okay, so that just shows you how many names outside of DK, right? Not even a wide receiver that are damn good players in this league. Okay, right? Think about that. Besides JJ. So right there, you did your organization a disservice and set it back right there. And that's where it started, because last year was a year you needed a JJ, right? And you needed a Dillard, obviously, on how banged up you were when it was all said and done. So that's 2 years, right? Now that's a big year that you needed both them guys, and they're nowhere to be found. Mm-hmm. One because of injury, one because he stinks. So right there started your whole trend of, right, when that's why you're going to win 4 games, because you're not even hitting on anything. You don't even own anything. 2017, you came out with Dallas Goedert and a bunch of nonsense. Okay? It was Dallas Goedert and a bunch of nonsense. Avonte Maddox, nothing in that draft matters. Okay? So to me, unless I'm missing somebody in that 2017 draft, I think they had 4 picks, and I don't think I'm missing anybody.
No, I don't think so either.
Unless I'm missing somebody late.
And you asked a good question a second ago, Tom, asking like who was after Andre Dillard. In a little bit, I'll break that down. I haven't looked at it since that year. It's depressing, but we'll get to it. It's really depressing. And we traded up to get Dillard too. We traded up to get him.
And that's the problem. You go up and get somebody, looks like a mess. You sat put, and like I said, what's after JJ in that draft too? So there's 2 players that you could have came out of that draft with you could have hit on 3 picks in that draft right there, okay, and walked out feeling great as an organization. Now there would have been a big year this past year for them players, and a big year for your football team where maybe you're not taking the cap hit you took this year and going in a rebuild, right? Because you should have been retooling this entire time. And that's why I disagree with even last year. Last year's a whole nother level of stupidity in my eyes, okay? But I'm not even counting it because I'm giving it one more year now. Because I got to see if Jalen can play, right? I got to see if both Jalens can play, right? Full year, you two, go ahead. You guys want to post and all be cute? Go ahead, play. Go ahead, play. It's not college anymore. I think you two should know that. So let's see how good this offense really is, okay? So then I'll judge it. But the rest of it, and you can go back past 2018. The rest of it is atrocious. In 2018, 2019, 2020, none of them good drafts. There's no good drafts involved in there. There's no superstars. There's no home run guys. There's none of them guys. There's nowhere right now when you go back with your binoculars and you say, where's that star? And that's the problem. That's why I'll disagree that it's just Jalen Hurts is the biggest mistake, because there's millions of mistakes. And we're just talking about 3 years of drafts. We're just talking about 3 years. 3 years. That's it. 3 years. 3 years of drafts. We're not talking about even 5. All right, let me go back to 5. Wait, you want to go down 5's road? Jeez, I mean, we can go 5 years of it, and you guys are going to want to start quitting watching Eagles football. And we really want to go down 5 years of it. Where are the stars? They're not here. So to put it on Jalen Hurts is the biggest mistake? No. I mean, it's a mistake. It was too early, etc. Blah, 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 blah. I get it. I'm not, there's no crown party for me, but I'm giving them 16 games to prove people otherwise. And then we can go back to the QB pool again. Mm-hmm. So I disagree. Family out there, you let us know what you guys think. Right. And I know you're going to be standing on this hill too, I guess. So
yeah, I'll first off say I disagree with the poll. To your point, Tom, and first thing we talked about before the show, what if the kid can play? You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to do it to the kid and say, oh, we saw 4 games, 3 of those games, not too good. 1 game, it might have been a mirage. But either way, I'm going to give the kid the opportunity to show he can play, and hopefully the team does, especially with all the rumors going out there that they might not even give him the chance to prove that, but we'll get to that in a little bit. Later down the line. But to me, I disagree with the poll wholeheartedly just because we got to see if the kid can play first. If the kid can play, if the guy's going to end up being a franchise quarterback, I don't even need him to end up being like Russell Wilson, like the team tried telling us he was going to be the replacement of the decision not to go get him back in 2011, 2012, 2013, whatever year that draft was. Either way, if he's a franchise quarterback, it's not a mistake at all. So that's still to be determined. To me, Tom, I completely agree with you. The draft, we could spend friggin' a whole show talking about what could have happened in each draft. Each draft could be a 4-hour show talking about the missed opportunities. But to me, since 2018, and for the family asking, like, why just 2018, it's real, like, why are we only going back to 2018? It's based off of how this organization ruined kind of the core and the new norm that was the Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? To where how they did not only not capitalize on it, but completely ruined it. I'm going to focus on one big thing, and it goes with the draft, it goes trade, it goes free agency, it goes the whole bubble. I think their biggest mistake since winning the Super Bowl was how they handled addressing the wide receiver position all the way down the line. You look, obviously, I'll just start in 2019 season. You're approaching the trade deadline. You know for a fact, if you have eyes, what does this offense need? What does this quarterback need? He needs some help, right? And you hear, this was the same season, by the way. It was the Jalen Ramsey, Minka Fitzpatrick. We were trying to get those. It's also for wide receivers. And you look at the year prior to that, 2018, you could say one thing that the team really didn't need was wide receiver. Well, what did they do? They went out and got Golden Tate, where it worked for a play or two in the Chicago game in the playoffs, but really, you went out and addressed the wide receiver when you didn't need to the year before. And then the year where you desperately need wide receiving help for your quarterback, and you're not a dumpster fire as far as the team. You're just, you're in the mix. And you have the opportunity to get Robbie Anderson for a third. You don't do that. You have the opportunity to get Emmanuel Sanders for a fourth. You don't do that. And then you, in turn, use those picks and you don't. I mean, it's like, okay, what about a third? What about a fourth? You're going to miss on them anyway. And those were going to be moves that could have helped your team, helped your quarterback win then. Since you said to the fan base, hey, we're in win now mode. You didn't do that. Okay. Then you go on the flip side and you talk I don't even need to go deep into this. It's the JJ Arcega-Whiteside instead of DK Metcalf factor with a mix of Jalen Reagor over Justin Jefferson. We've talked about it all the time. We're going to continue to talk about it until we finally get a legitimate receiver in here. If you hit on one of those, if you just say, hey, we're going to get DK Metcalf, we're going to get Justin Jefferson, I'm not even asking for both. If you had both, awesome. But if you just had one of them, I don't think people understand how different this offseason and this draft outlook would be if you just had one of them here. And also how much different I would say the season would have gone this past year if you had one of them. So that is huge. And you also look at, obviously, and I get it, it's hindsight 2020, but the Alshon extension really looks horrible on your resume as a GM, looking back on it with the injuries, paying him when you didn't really need to because he was in the middle of a contract anyway. You gave him the contract when he was still coming back from injury in October. So I would say, along with the million different ways you can talk about mistakes and how you address positions, cornerback, linebacker, defensive end, et cetera, offensive line when you talk about the left tackle, Tom, running back, quarterback. To me, it starts and ends with something we've been talking about at nauseam for years, and that is, can we just get the quarterback some help? And they've either said, nah, we're good, or they've gone and they've valued guys that really shouldn't have been valued when they took them.
How about that? How about this? It's not even just the value of, like, the wide receivers alone, right? It's the values like, okay, you don't draft them guys, so be it. I don't, people can say, JJ, oh, you should have drafted DK. Fine, whatever. Forget DK. There's probably players after that weren't just wide receivers that could have been impactful players for this football team that it would be helpful for a quarterback. So I don't even play like, oh, it could have been just a wide receiver for a wide receiver game anymore with this organization, because there's so many misses that it's just like this guy for anybody, any position. Because look at our positions. Look how putrid it is. It's putrid all over. So it's like, it's crazy that we're just talking about, I know wide receivers been so glaring because it's like, hey, because it's just constant misses. But when you go deeper, it's misses all over. It's everywhere. And it's just like, dude, forget, you could have drafted no wide receivers over the last 3 years, and nobody would be up in arms if you drafted a bunch of Pro Bowlers, right? Nobody's going to be, oh my God, you missed on all these wide receivers. No, we would be like, hey, okay, now you got to go get one, right? You know what I mean? Now I'd be like, hey, now you got to go address one, right? But we're a damn good football team. But now, okay, that's the only spot we don't have that big time playmaker at, right? But you've missed on left tackles, you've missed on tight ends, you've missed on corners, you've missed on D ends essentially, right? I mean, you missed on the board, right? And everybody talks about, well, do we have a bad scouting department? No, I don't think we do. I just think that when it comes to first and second round picks, Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman got their fingerprints all the fuck over it.
It's control. Yes.
Yeah, when it comes to the later round picks, they actually let their scouting department do their job, but it's just harder to hit then. But you notice more players, and none of them are Pro Bowlers, because you don't expect to hit Pro Bowlers in the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th fucking rounds. Okay, you hit them in the 1st and 2nd jerk offs, all right, and maybe even the 3rd if you're lucky, all right. And if you're really lucky, you hit really late sometimes, and there's always diamonds in the rough. I get it. Listen, if you're listening on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, wherever you're at, pound the like, pound the subscribe, pound the follow, pound whatever you got to pound over on whatever platform you're on, and giddy up and enjoy the conversation, because if you want to enjoy it, it's not enjoyable. It's absolutely fucking putrid and disgusting.
Enjoying watching our pain, maybe like a Dr. Phil, you know what I'm saying? Just like sit on the couch and reflect on the mistakes and how we got here, I guess. To your point, Tom, I want to add an honorable mention. And this almost, to be honest, by the end of the show, this might end up being my one, to where I might retract. I might musical chair it. You know what I'm saying? I might switch in the middle of the show as far as my biggest mistake. The deterioration of this defense, the defensive core, the young defensive core that we once thought we had, right? Remember back in 2018, 2019, we were talking about, we have 2 waves of the defense. People were talking about the 2 waves. We have the veteran leadership and the veterans, the core from the Super Bowl. And then we have I almost feel I'm either going to start crying or laughing at this. We have the Sidney Jones, the Rasul Douglas, the Avonte Maddoxes of the world, the Derek Barnetts, to where, hey, there are second line in defense that can also replace, you know what I'm saying, the Jalen Mills, those type guys. And you're looking at it, and now you're sitting here with either none of them, or you realize all of them suck.
Yeah, look at it. I mean, Derek Barnett, Sidney Jones, Rasul Douglas. I mean, you're going 2017, right? So in 2017, where you're really looking to like, okay, let's get, we want to get. So that's the year. Okay, yeah. So that's the year before the Super Bowl. Okay, so you look at that year right there. Okay, and then knowing that none of them guys are going to be in your roster going into 2020, besides Derek Barnett, right?
Maybe.
And Nathan Gary. No, 2020. I'm saying. In 21, most likely neither one are going to be there, right? And then if you go to 2018, right, you're talking about you traded you didn't have a first round pick, right? Yeah, and you went Goddard, Maddox, Sweat, Pryor, Mulata, right? There's no stars there.
Mailata might end up being the best pick. And I like Dallas, but we know we're concerned about him with the injuries. If Mailata gets the job at left tackle when he plays well, wouldn't that be the perfect Philadelphia Eagles thing, to where the best pick out of that draft would be the rugby guy.
Yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense. And then you go 2019, right?
Yes.
Dillard, Sanders, Whiteside, Sharif Miller, Clayton Thorson. Okay.
Wow.
Misses. And then this year, you just don't know enough, right? This year, you just don't. You gotta let it. You gotta let 2020 play out for a minute, right? Doesn't look good. And then you go back to Carson's year, right? Go back to Carson's year. Okay, go back to fucking Carson's year. You took Wentz, Salmalu. Okay, good picks. Okay.
Yeah.
Smallwood. All right, whatever. I didn't hate Wendell.
What round was that? Third?
That was actually the fifth.
Oh, that's a good pick. That was a good pick. He played well for us. He played well.
Right, which was important. Showing he's important. Okay, and then Jalen. You had Blake Countless. Sorry, then you had Jalen Mills. So whatever. And then you had
good draft. That was a solid draft. Yeah, right? That was a good draft.
And then that's it. So I mean, none of that. And so if you go 2017 on, it's like, yeah, this is schools. Like just the schools they're drafting from. Makes you laugh. Like you can just go through the schools they're drafting from. Like, all right, Washington State, Penn State, Stanford, Penn State, Northwestern, South Dakota State, Pittsburgh, Florida State. That's a good school. TCU, they love TCU. Tennessee, right? They don't even go to the good SEC school. Washington, West Virginia, North Carolina, San Diego State, West Virginia, Nebraska, Washington. Where are your SEC players?
You know where that screams, Tom? That screams, I'm going to find the hidden gem because I'm smarter than you.
Like always. Always. You go to Carson, North Dakota State, Oregon State, West Virginia, TCU. It's the same thing. Auburn, all right? I mean, LSU, okay, fine. That's their 6th and 7th round picks you went there. And then you went Florida with Alex McAllister, right? I mean, the whole thing.
Oh, Jesus, that's a name.
The whole thing's stupid. I mean, even this past year, they went Auburn twice. Well, okay, well, you went line there. I like that, but they're all after the 4th round.
Yeah. Who were the two Auburn guys? It was Driscoll and who was the other
one? Prince. Well, he's not here anymore.
Oh, who's now on, I think, Detroit.
Yeah. So you went TCU, Bama. I get it, Bama, but it was Hurts. It wasn't even. It doesn't count as Bama. It's Oklahoma. It's Oklahoma, right? So you didn't even go there. You know what I'm saying? You didn't even go there again.
True.
So it's 2 straight years that you refuse to go get. You refuse to go to the schools that have proven to dish out the players in the 1st and 2nd round that end up being stars.
I'll go back to what you had said at the opening, Tom, talking about like who was after Andre Dillard in the 1st round that we could have taken it. Granted, like we talk about again, anybody. And I only have the 1st round just because I feel like if I go in the 2nd round, it's gonna be like really, really bad. So we picked Andre Dillard at 22, traded up to get him. The next handful of picks, it was Titus Howard from the for the Texans at 23. 24, Josh Jacobs. You could have taken Josh Jacobs.
Fine.
And then not taking Miles Sanders later. And I know people like Miles, but I don't think anybody with a straight face would say they would take Miles over Josh Jacobs. I wouldn't. I would take Josh Jacobs in 2 seconds over Miles.
Yep.
Draft. Then 25, Marquise Hollywood Brown goes to the Ravens. He's been hit or miss, but again, we know the guy can play. We would definitely take him over Andre Dillard.
Yeah, looks like it right now.
This one really hurts. And I would say the caveat is there's a lot of concern. I think there was like an injury thing with him, but still, Montez Sweat to Washington at 26. He was the drop.
Yeah. I don't care what happened to him. Just look at him. Yes. So like, it's another one. You value your defensive front so much, but you don't go there. Well, because at that time, I guess they spent so much money up there that they didn't value it at that point.
But still, like we always talk about, Tom, if like Montez Sweat was looked at as a top 10 talent in the draft at that time, if he falls to you at 25, 24, 20, whatever in the 20s, friggin' take him. Just because he's just improving your player, improving your roster. My God. Then you have Jonathan Abram to the Raiders, Jerry Tillery, defensive tackle to the Chargers, LJ Collier, linebacker, Seahawks. Then DeAndre Baker, cornerback, Giants. He's famous for another reason. Caleb McGarry, tackle, Falcons, and then N'Keal Harry, wide receiver, Patriots. So not a lot of great picks back there, but the first couple are glaring. I mean, the Josh Jacobs one, I'll have nightmares just about that. Trading up to get Andre Dillard and not getting Josh Jacobs.
Yeah, I'm worrying about like I don't know. I don't know. It's just the same old. It's the same old run through with this organization. That's why it's not Jalen Hurts to the poll. It's why he's not the biggest mistake. You know what I mean? Being him by himself. Like, we don't know. We'll got to give that sample size a minute to grow. But right now, I mean, there's a lot of other problems outside of what you did there.
Now, I will say,
who's that on now? Because everybody playing that on the quarterback. Like, who the fuck is that on? These are all guys after 2016 that were drafted here. Look at all them guys.
True.
Look at all them damn guys. It's so bad. Oh my goodness.
Now, this is an interesting one, and somebody mentioned this to me before the show, so I'm glad somebody actually said it in the chat. Do you consider this, hindsight 2020, do you consider this one of their biggest mistakes? Not trading Wentz after Super Bowl 52, should have kept Foles and had 2 first-rounders for Wentz. So kind of now looking at how it ended, do you consider that one of their all-time mistakes?
No, the other way around.
Not trading Foles.
Yeah, because you had that offer on the table that we knew what it was.
Yeah.
We knew what that offer was. Mm-hmm. And you don't have to worry about the guy looking over somebody's shoulder the whole next year.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You didn't have to worry about it because he came with any backup quarterback, let him started, and then when Carson was back, he was back. Right? But they didn't want to do that. So they didn't want to do it. That's when their factory started.
John Castiglione says, what about not trading for wide receiver Hopkins? No.
Yes. I mean, that's always a mistake.
No, I mean, it's a huge mistake. I don't know if it's the number one. I actually think not trading for Ramsey or Fitzpatrick back in 2019 is up there.
I think all of them. If you want to win.
Yeah. Because it's a formula. It's a formula, yeah.
Yeah, if you want to win. Like, if you want to win, you go get stars. Right? I mean, I don't know what else to tell people. If you want to win, you go get talent. Right? Mm-hmm. There's no talent on this football team that you're like excited about coming into the year. Like, the offense is so unknown that it might intrigue some people, and that's fine. It might intrigue me a little bit at times too, because you just don't know how bad it could be or if it could be good. We just don't really know. We assume the defense, we're like, oh my God, outside of like Fletch, Brandon, Hargrave, and Slay, it's like, oh my God. Oh my God. Who's playing where? So, you know what I mean? And it's all stems from numerous misses. And then you go to your skill position players. Outside the guys you just drafted this past year, there's nothing. There's nothing. Right? We're just talking about a bunch of kids you just drafted this past year, and Reagor, Hightower, Watkins, Hurts, like, okay. All right, and then you go, okay, Miles, got her. Well, they need monster years, man, because it's now make or break it years for them too. And then this year's really going to show, truly, if they're misses or if they're home runs or if they're just meh, right? You understand what I'm saying to you guys right now? This year determines, and I know people are going to be upset by this, this year determines if Dallas Goedert's a Pro Bowl caliber player or not, and if Miles Sanders is. Like a legitimate, I'm sorry, not Pro Bowl, all-pro
thank you,
caliber player or not. This year is going to determine that. In no other year than this year right now is going to determine the value if them picks were hits or misses. We're giving them credit as being good picks right now. But after following the 2021 season, if they don't live up to expectations, then picks now become misses.
True.
And if they become misses, then it's the whole thing needs to then officially please be burned to the fucking ground.
And I'll say this too. We're at least for, I think I don't want to speak for you, Tom, but I would agree. I would think you would agree with this. We're not just talking about finding out their play on the field. What do they both have that are big criticism? I mean, I think Dallas, I would say, is the biggest criticism of him, but definitely Miles now. Can they stay healthy enough to be that guy?
Yeah, because Miles 25 carries, right? I mean, he's on the field for 15. Mm-hmm. I'm going to ask you all. You know what I mean? It's not a shot the guy. I mean, stop crowning. Like, we're crowning. Like, these guys tweet out and we roll, right? We all go flying over it. Grow up. Let these dudes show you. Does he have a burst? Yeah. Does he have the ability to take 165 to the house? Sure. Nobody's debating that. Does Dallas Goedert have the ability to make tough catches? Yeah, we've seen it. But if you guys don't stay on the field like you were just saying, then you become, or simple as this, if you're not an all-pro next year, then them picks in the second round, which are high-value picks, or then become misses.
Yep.
If these dudes aren't considered some of the better dudes in their positions, like I need you dudes to be top 5 to 8 guys in your position this year. Right? You understand what I'm saying? Like, you don't got to be number 1. You got to be top 5 to 8, somewhere in that range at your position this year. If you want to be considered for them picks to be the hits that we hope they are. And then you talk about Dillard. Dillard's got to. I'm sorry to Jordan Malata. I mean, Dillard's got to win that fucking job. Or this thing's even worse. And that's not a shot at Malata. Like, Dillard's got to show that he can play 16. Right? And if he can, and there's another man. So, I mean, it's too much. And we're assuming a lot of these are misses, right?
Yeah.
It's too much.
I would say the best word to describe, I mean, really all three of them, Dillard, Goddard, and Miles, but just, in the sample size, I would just say Goddard and Miles just because we've seen a lot from them. Consistency. That's all we're asking. Like, people could probably take what we just said and say, oh, well, you're expecting a lot from an offense when you don't have a lot of tools around it. No, we're not asking for friggin' great leaps and bounds. We're asking for consistency because if we finally get some consistency from Miles and Dallas, we know what their talent is. We know what their ceiling is because we've seen it. They've flashed it plenty of times. If they finally show a level of consistency, then they'll prove to at least us that they might have been actually deserving of being picked there.
Yeah, if Dallas Goedert doesn't have 1,000 yards, then you're not a hit. If Miles Sanders doesn't have, at least 1,200 on the ground and another 800 plus in the air. Like, I'm talking about 2,000 all-purpose yards. I mean, that's what I'm being told I got from them. You know what I mean? I need 2,000 all-purpose yards from you back there and receiving and rushing. Okay, and Goddard, I need you over 1,000. I need you 8 to 10 touchdowns. You know what I mean? I need you to be a legitimate weapon. And if not, then you both are with us and saying this number twos. Just number twos, which is the picks which is the round you were taking in. Just a bunch of twos in round 2.
Rotational back.
And they need to start hitting on first. That's why, I'd be shocked if they trade out of it. I saw a mock draft earlier that had him taking Mac Jones at 6. Like, what are we doing?
I was going to ask you about that.
Imagine that. Imagine if that took place. Mac Jones, team them up together, him and Hurts again.
Well, yeah, he was what, the third stringer when Hurts and Tua were there?
Yep.
God, it's a freaking Alabama reunion.
And that all the schools are going to go quarterback from you and keep going there.
I swear to, and we know that's just how we and Jeffrey watching the national title game, being like, oh, he's a winner.
Yeah, there's a lot of winners on that team. Go get some of them.
Yeah, go get his teammates. There's a million teammates of his that we would gladly have, not him.
Yeah, I mean, give me Najee Harris, give me Devontae Smith, give me a bunch of guys.
Surtain.
Yeah, Surtain. Give me Mosley in the third round. I'll take
friggin' Waddle before I take Mac Jones.
Dustin, neither, because we got to take a different position. But which one would I rather have? I don't know, Mac, because I think I know what he's done against big time competition. Now, granted, he's got big time players around him, but I don't know. I mean, something about how he throws from the pocket I loved. I watched some Trey Lance. I get it. Like, he moves, runs all around. I get it. I get it until 4-4 comes off the end. So, I mean, I like Mac Jones a little bit, but I don't like either one of them. Neither one of them are top fucking 10 picks, if that, to me.
Dustin, if they take either of them, I'm throwing chairs to the TV either way. My freaking house is going to look like the old school ECW arena in here. I mean, everything's going flying.
It's so bad, too, because
it might actually happen? Yeah, I know.
Oh, yeah, it could. Eagles wide receivers tweeting smack, and they've done nothing. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Play 16 games, and then you talk, right? Have 1,000 yards, then you talk. I mean, this is what's getting out of control is now we got a bunch of dudes walking around, a bunch of young guys thinking they're better than they are. And listen, I would love for them to be confident players, and I'm all about being a confident player, but you don't got to tweet about it to equal confidence.
Mm-mm.
So, I don't know what else to do besides – you're in the top 10 right now. You're at number 6. What are you going to do? Right? I was on with Joe the other day after Agree Disagree, and we were grading people's drafts, right?
Ooh.
We were having fun with that. We were grading other people's drafts, so it was a good time. And there were some good ones, but everybody had so many wide receivers at 6, and I graded that on a bad scale. right? Like if you took a wide receiver at 6, I grade on a bad scale to me, no matter who it was. So, but then I forget who actually, I know who won it, but I forget what their final one was. But then I finally got like sold, like, you know what though? If you're going to go, if you do, and it is Chase, I'm not going to be mad. Like if it is Jamar Chase, if it is, if it's Jamar Chase at 6, I'm not going to go throwing stuff. Like, why would I? Because I think he's extremely talented, and I think Devontae Smith is extremely talented. I think Pitts is extremely talented, and I think Surtain's extremely talented. So I'm not going to get mad at any of them picks. But if you start going off of that kind of board and you start getting fucking cute in this draft and you want to be the smartest goddamn guy in the room, I am going to fucking punch somebody in the face. And I will promise you, I will get arrested at the NovaCare complex if there is a quarterback. If there is a quarterback outside of Trevor Lawrence, which has never happened at 6, if there's a quarterback drafted at 6, I will get arrested for the fucking people. I will hit the fucking like button and hit the subscribe so you can come back and you can fucking tell me, because I'll go down there and get arrested for all you right the fucking NovaCare complex. You can lock me up because I want to talk to him. I need to talk to him. I got questions. The media, the people, the real media, which is the people, have fucking questions. And are you guys okay? That's all I got to ask them. So fucking take me out of here in cuffs because I need to know if we're okay. At 6, the fuck, even at 15, fuck, you could trade back the fucking $2 million. So you could trade back the $2 million for this year. If that's not even possible, and you could. And no.
There's people saying they'll meet you down there, Tom.
Good. Meet and greet. We'll all get taken in together. We'll all get taken in right together as a family. Because we didn't get the answers we need to get. We didn't get them last year. We didn't get them at the end of this year.
Takeover talk. Takeover talk.
Never got these answers. I want answers. If you actually had the audacity to draft a quarterback at 6 outside of the name of Trevor Lawrence, like you actually think you're that fucking smart, then I'll get arrested for the people. If you think you're that smart, because I need to know that. Because really, for myself and you guys, I'm really doing it for you because I think a lot of people would.
Thanks, John.
I think a lot of people agree. Like, you can't go quarterback 6. Like, I have an issue with wide receiver 6, but there's so much talent there that I don't have an issue. If there's like 16 Trevor Lawrences in this draft, then I'd be like, all right, maybe you got to go there again. But there isn't.
You just reminded me of something, Tom, and I have a request from you. Okay, on the spot, and I need the fam's help too. So the only other person who knows about this is Mr. Frio. I ran this by him the other day. This is my 0.5 mock draft of the year. It's not 1 because I don't start 1 until March, which is now, but I did it the other day. I'm going to give you the first 4 picks. We're not talking like pick 232. No one has time for that. I'm going to give you the first 4 picks, and I want you, Tom, and the fam at home to grade it, okay? Because there's been a little bit of a shift as far as, we talk about like our number 1 guy in the first round, like, who we would want if they were all there. Patrick Surtain has been overtaken by somebody. From me. So the first 4 picks are as follows. I trade back to 9 with Denver, and I acquire 9 and 40 for 6. At 9, I select who is now my number 1 target. It's Kyle Pitts. Then, at pick 37, I take Asante Samuel Jr., cornerback, Florida State. 40, I get Jabril Cox, linebacker, LSU. And at 70, I get Jamian Sherwood, safety, Auburn.
It's a B.
All right.
No, it's all right.
What's the biggest concern you have with those first 4?
Are they stars?
Fair.
Are they stars? Like, I like Pitts a lot. You know that. But I jump back and forth from some of these skill position guys a lot because there is guys that could be more dangerous than him too. So it's just tough. It's tough. It really is. Like, where, did they be able to hit the stars this year?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the problem. Like, does Chase have a better chance of being a star than Pitts does? Does Surtain have a better chance of being a star than Pitts does? Does Devontae Smith have a better chance of being a star than Pitts does? And that's just offensively, right? And then you go defense. Does Micah Parsons have a better chance of being a star, right? So like that's my biggest concern because honestly there's a good amount of talent up in this area that you should be able to you could pick from, and are they able to hit it? And I'm almost having second guesses over all the names because I'm scared they're gonna miss. So it's almost like that. Like I almost can't be asked anymore. You know what I mean? Like
you don't know what to believe. You don't if Howie takes the same picks we want, is that poor judgment by us now? You know what I'm saying? Like, are we now are we the problem? You know what I'm saying? Like now are we now our own crumb of the day? You know
I take 13 at 6 and he takes them and I'm like, oh fuck.
Yeah, like, oh, that's a miss. Well,
here we go. Pack the bags. So I don't listen. I know all about Pitts, guys. So I mean, I love Pitts. I would take him at 6, but I think that might be a reach at 6. I think that might be a little bit too the smartest guy in the room syndrome. So like, I almost am leaning towards. I think I can trade back for him. Like, you know what I mean? Because I think that like if some quarterback runs go, I think I can trade back outside the top 10 if I really want them. You know what I mean? I think I can if a little quarterback run goes. Because you know how runs go in this drafts. So if some runs go, maybe I can sneak myself out of it and not be a top 10 pick. And maybe if the same thing goes for a guy like Surtain, who I've seen different slots and tons of different mock drafts.
He's dropping too. It's weird. It's weird that he's dropping.
More guys are going to move.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Chase is almost like jumping up boards now. If he couldn't be jumped up any more than he was, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And you're going to see when they go back and look at some of these guys from last year's tape, you're going to see didn't play this year. You're going to see them, have different opinions, and some of these guys jump up boards that didn't play in 2020. You know what I mean? Chase, Sewell, a lot of guys. I mean, jump up from anywhere from 6 to 9 to 2, 3, 4. You never know. You know what I mean?
True.
You just don't know. And does that drop guys because then a run goes, right? Like if a wide receiver run goes, then wide receivers are going to start going because teams are going to go, oh shit, right? So then it happens every year. If a quarterback run goes, right, then you're like, oh shit. Then maybe it's not Samuel Jr. A lot of people got sliding in the second round. Maybe he's a late first round pick.
Yeah.
So that kind of shit can we know how this game goes. And then there's going to be Uncle Reachers. There's going to be Uncle Reachers all around. Outside of what Jacksonville should do, I got a feeling there's going to be outside of one. I got a feeling there's going to be there's a few Uncle Reaches in the house. All right,
especially like you were talking about the runs. If somebody, say Waddle goes before, I would hope this wouldn't happen, especially to our Eagles. But like, say Waddle goes ahead of Smith and Chase, or just goes ahead of Chase. You know what I'm saying? Well, that's going to cause teams to be like, oh, my God, Smith is available, and then they're going to start jumping. You know what I'm saying? To where the run can happen if somebody reaches on somebody else, and then that person who really shouldn't be available at that time is now available. And now teams are going to start panicking.
Oh, yeah. And that's what's going to, or it can happen both ways. Or it can happen you just go by the board, and teams don't reach, but a run goes. And then it becomes reaches because you're going because the run's going. You know what I mean? Yeah, and then there are even more panic sets in. Yeah, there's a bunch of different ways I guess it can definitely go. And that's why it's so like tough to do these. You know what I mean? It's so tough to do these because if you go back on mock drafts, you did most of us did last year. A guy like Jalen Rager wasn't in the first round. A guy like Jalen Hurts wasn't in the first round. So you're just talking about us at 6. We're the definition of reaches. But if you really look at it, there's reaches all over. If I went back and re-looked at last year's draft, I guarantee you there's reaches, especially compared to what went in the second round. I mean, there was a ton of talent that went in the second round last year. So I can only imagine what I consider a bunch of reaches in the first round that right now are like, You know what I mean? And that's just the way it goes.
See,
that's why there's good teams and bad teams.
All right, we'll do a rapid fire real quick, and you just tell me if you think they're reaches, because that's a good point. So I'll just start at the top. Burrow, no, right? Chase Young,
no.
Okuda, Andrew Thomas at 4, Tua, Herbert.
Tua, yes.
Tua reach, yeah.
And then what goes after Tua?
Herbert.
Like, yeah. They were drafting one anyway, but it's just funny. Like, you know what I mean? Like, bam, bam, go ahead. Herbert.
Derek Brown, no, that was a good pick.
No.
Isaiah Simmons.
Reach.
Yeah.
Reach. I mean, because of his skills, because of how much of a specimen he is, I think he jumped into the top 15 when he was more of a 15 or later guy, essentially. But no, I mean, I can't kill the pick yet, but
No.
yeah, maybe a little reach.
Let's see. C.J. Henderson, Jacksonville.
Position to see the Henderson play.
Cornerback.
That's what I was going to say. I would have to ask a Jaguars fan on that one.
I saw Clay's in here. Clay was in here, so he'll tell us.
Yeah, Clay. Reach right now. I got to watch a corner play to tell you he's a fucking reach. The Jacksonville stinks, so I don't. No offense, Clay. I don't watch any Jacksonville game.
Jedrick Wills, Cleveland. I don't think so. Mekhi Becton, Jets. They suck. So it's like these teams that suck, I'm willing to give an extra year just because they suck. Okay, Henry Ruggs. Reach. First wide receiver off the board, absolute reach.
Yeah, and then bang, 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 bang.
Yeah, then here goes the run. Tristan Wirfs, no. Because they won a friggin' Super Bowl. Javon Kinlaw, no.
No, I like Kinlaw.
Jerry Jeudy,
no.
AJ Terrell, Atlanta cornerback. Again, they stunk. Lamb.
1 year. No, Lamb's not a reach.
Austin Jackson, tackle Miami. It's tough to gauge that.
Yeah, no reach yet. Nope.
Damon Arnett. This was like a 3-round reach by the Raiders. Damon Arnett, cornerback.
Yeah, reach. But that's what it does. That's what the run does. Right? The run does the corners. Right now, you see a few like, whoa, you guys sure you guys are that high picks? Okay.
Then you got Kayvon Chason, defensive end, Jacksonville. Again, Clay will have to tell us. Then you got Kenneth Murray. Or no, I'm sorry. Then you got Rager, reach. Jefferson, steal of the draft. That's the steal of the draft. Him and Herbert is the steals of the draft. Be able to get.
You look right now at it. Jedrick Wills pretty big. Jedrick Wills to me is pretty big on where Cleveland got him. To be honest with you, like when you outside of skill position guy, like Jedrick Wills is to me is a big time to get him outside the top 10 like they did, right? Because you can make a case he could have went over Brown, right?
True.
I think it's I think the guy kid from Georgia, right?
Who Brown or Wills?
Brown.
I believe yes. Oh no, Auburn. Who did the Giants
take?
They took Andrew Thomas.
Andrew Thomas is from Georgia. That's right. Andrew Thomas is from Georgia. So Andrew Thomas, you could talk about being a little bit of maybe a little reach there. So, either way, Jedrick Wills could have went as the first tackle off of that board, and he goes at 12. So that's a steal too.
And Wirfs for the Buccaneers. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he was a big part of obviously the Super Bowl.
Where was he taken again?
14.
Yeah, they're steals. There should have been the two first tackles off the board. So both of them teams, hit home runs because other teams don't do their fucking jobs. You know what I mean? And it's what you get. It is what you get. This is why you got bad teams still drafting there and other teams working their way out of it, right? When you talk about Cleveland and Tampa, hey, what do we need? All right, you guys want to fuck up? Sure, we'll sit right here.
Then you've got Kenneth Murray at 23. We both love Murray.
Go pick, yeah.
Then you've got Cesar Ruiz, center for New Orleans.
I like Cesar Ruiz.
This could end up being a big steal. He was injured a lot this year, but Brandon Ayuk, 25 to San Francisco, wide receiver.
Yeah, I mean not enough. Now you're getting late in the first round where it's like, what I mean?
Patrick Queen at 28 is a steal.
Yeah, it's a steal.
And the only other one I would say is a steal in the first round would be Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Yeah, I wouldn't even call it a steal because he was was he the first back?
Yes, because then you had DeAndre Swift at 35.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't call him a steal then. No.
Okay.
No, because he's okay. I mean, not okay, like in a bad way. Like he's explosive. He can do some things, but I think he's slotted right where he should be, though. Still, like because there's no other backs that went.
Yes, true, correct.
Yeah, there's tons of.
So they had their pick. They had their pick of the litter. So technically, if you look at everyone else, you could Because I don't think we would say Clyde was the best running back so far in this class, right? I think we would take others.
Yeah, I would take others. I mean, for what they, I mean, he went to the best situation, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, that sort of helps that pick every year too. Like that guy's usually going to the best situation. It's funny. Rieger was a reach around. Yeah, everything's bad. It's bad. Yeah, and then Tampa double dipped Ja'Cory, and that's why, they got two directions, right? Winfield's a big hit that I
45
that I was yelling and screaming about all draft was Winfield, and obviously, after us, there he goes, or no, before us. But sorry,
big steal. Based off of what we've seen from him so far, Cam Akers at 52, running back to the Rams. He looks legit.
Make the case Cam Akers is the best back in this draft so far.
And then you followed up with J.K. Dobbins at 55, Baltimore, when they already had freaking Mark Ingram.
Mm-hmm.
They had no business going back to the running backs, but to what we always say, somebody can improve. Okay, we can help our running back room. Okay, great. Jeremy Chin at 64. It's out. It's disgusting to me. 64, Jeremy Chin.
Disturbing that much can go down. You know what I mean? Like the guys that can just fall this much that can play. And that goes for everything. You know what I mean? Just not just him. I mean, there's tons of players and there's tons of reaches. We talk about it. There's tons of guys who think they're finding that gem or that reach or teams that do take that first guy off the board at positions, think that they're the smartest team in the room, smartest team around, and they reach, or not take the best guys. And that happened just at tackle last year, right? So, I mean, the two tackles that went the two off the board, we just talked about that. Shouldn't have happened, right? When you talk about Miami, well, you really look at it, should have went Herbert. What are you doing? You're taking two, that's a disgrace of 5. So, I mean, if they take Herbert, it's shit.
They're winning a playoff game this year. They're winning maybe playoff games because we know how close they were. I mean, they had to win the final week, and that's when Fitzpatrick got COVID. So they were within a game of making the playoffs. They were a dark horse. I know you liked them in the middle of the year, Tom, as far as like a dark horse to get in. And you can look at it. Okay, what was their biggest problem? It was the quarterback. Mm-hmm. Their defense was solid. Or no, their defense was very good, more than solid. So if you put Herbert on that roster and that coach, damn.
Yeah, unless yeah, who knows? But you just look at the reaches. You just look at all the reaches. It's just everybody wants to be smarter than everybody else.
So with that being said, I'll ask you, and I know it's easy for us to say because we're Eagles fans and we have to deal with the pick, but after what I just read, is Jalen Reagor the reach of the draft? Or is there something more glaring elsewhere?
Well, 2 is fucking glaring.
It could end, yeah. Yep. All right, so I'll ask you that. What's more of a reach, Reagor at 21 or Ruggs at 12?
Reagor at 21.
I agree.
And that's not like crowning Ruggs.
No.
But
we understand it. We were talking on draft night, hey, if we trade up and get Ruggs, we understand.
Yeah, like that's not the guy we all wanted, but we would be like, okay, we get it. And that's what happens though. A team does that. And then we don't take best player available, right? Then we don't go best player available. We go wide receiver, and that's where the reaches continue, right? If we think this organization was in love with Jalen Reagor at that slot, I think we're misguided. You know what
I mean? Yeah. And plus, you can say, for the Henry Ruggs thing, he went to freaking Alabama, for God's sakes. You know what I'm saying? At least he has that. He wasn't a TCU guy.
Yeah, at least everybody knew him.
Yeah. And he had that crazy combine. He broke the record? He tied the record or something?
I mean, he did shit this year too. You know what I mean? So, I mean, they're both reaches to me, really.
Yeah.
I might say Ruggs is a little bit, I might say Ruggs is a little bit more of a reach because Ruggs I had late anyway. So, I mean, they're both big reaches to me, honestly, because the two guys who went in the middle there are right. And then obviously Rager in front of Jefferson makes it a reach. Like CD and Judy is fine, and Jefferson not going yet. Like it's not egregious to me. Then two aren't like still right now. Like I'm not gonna say they're egregious because Jefferson had a monster year. Like they're not. Like CD and Judy are like okay, they make sense. Ruggs going before Jefferson was always a crock of shit to me, right? So it becomes out of that big board of guys. Yeah, he's a reach there because he went three receivers over where he really should have. Where Rager just went the round. He should have never went to the end of the first round, if that.
It's true. I remember this time last year, and I know a lot of the fam will remember this if they were watching at the time. Our big board as far as receivers, we would talk about it every week. You had your order, Tom, was Judy 1, Jefferson 2, Lamb 3, Ruggs 4. And mine was Judy 1, Lamb 2, Jefferson 3, Ruggs 4. So to your point, neither of us were really high on Ruggs anyway.
No.
You know what I'm saying? He was never top 3 on our board at any point.
No, and that's why to me, he's a late first rounder.
Yes.
Like if but the combine jacks these guys up there.
Mm-hmm.
And Corey, yeah, everybody going to look faster at TCU than they're going to look in the pros. So, and that's why that fucking the highlight films they do everybody a disservice. Like when you're watching them things, like I want to watch guys get off of coverage. I want to watch guys run a route and get the hell open. I want to watch guys go off for footballs, right? More so than I want to watch a guy just running by a guy, right? Like, you know what I mean? I want to watch, okay, you can run by a guy in college. Good. This isn't college anymore. Can you get open? Like, what's your movements to get by a guy? Like, are you just running straight? Because he just run straight by a guy. Oh, okay. Well, nobody in this league are you going to probably run straight by. You know what I mean? You're going to have to do something to get straight by, right? You got to fool guys into getting straight by in this league. You got to set it up. So, I mean, all that is what, right there is why these highlight tapes get everybody jacked up on guys, and you end up being like, all right, well, why did I see something else at TCU?
And Tim, to your question, what if we took Ayuk? I'll just make it very simple. If it was anyone else, any other receiver in the first 2 rounds that were taken, with the exception of Denzel Mims and Jalen Rager, we would be in a better situation. Whether that was Shenault, Higgins, Pittman, Claypool, obviously you talk about Jefferson. If it's anybody else in the first 2 rounds, we're in a better spot today. Any spot. Doesn't even matter who it is. You can give me any of those 7, 8 guys.
Maybe.
Who
I'll give you Jefferson. I mean, Jefferson, yes, but the other guys, I can't.
Higgins can play. Higgins can
play. But let's just see it again. Let's just see. This is a big year for all these guys, right? Because there's going to be guys who maybe can, or there are guys who are one-hit wonders. You know what I mean? There might be some one-hit wonders in that group. You never know. So that's what like I won't like fully say that all them picks are better than Rager. Jefferson absolutely is. Mm-hmm. Right? I mean, it looks like all them picks are better than him, but I'm not gonna automatically say that like right now. Let me see them other later round guys. Let me see them keep up production too.
Mm-hmm. By the way, this is my favorite comment of all time. John Castiglione. I feel like listening to A2D radio is like listening to Linkin Park before they got huge. This should be the biggest Philadelphia Eagles sports show going, and I have faith it will be. Thank you, John.
Thanks, Johnny.
I feel like some people will disagree with the Linkin Park reference, depending on if they like Linkin Park or not, but I get the sentiment and I appreciate it.
Yeah, so that's to me like, we never know. I mean, Rager come out and could have a big second year, right? I mean,
Hope so.
Seen it happen. Could come out and have 8 touchdowns, and be explosive, and you're like, okay, cool. Like it's a good pick, right? We don't know. Right now, it doesn't look good. We all get it. I was yelling and screaming about it. Still am. Okay. You should Jefferson, it was easy at that point. We all thought when the card came up, that's who it was. We all thought in the second round when the card came up, it was somebody else too. And now, guess what? We got to tie our wagon to these guys. We got to tie our wagon to these two and pray to fucking God that they both can play. from an organization that's not known from hitting the first round or the second round. And now we got to bank on both these dudes being able to play this year coming up for us to not be in full tank mode. We're there, we're in tank, you know what I mean? But just to be, for everybody knows that, there's people out there that don't think we're there yet. All right, well, if these two come out and play well, then maybe we're not. But if they come out and shit the bed, for all you guys that don't think we're in tank mode yet, buckle up.
Thanks, Brandon. Appreciate it, brother.
Buckle up there. So we wanted to switch it up too, not go. We got a half hour to the Sixers kick off here. Maybe 40 minutes because they're never, it never starts at 7.
They take their time. They take
their time. So we're going to shift it and talk some Sixers with you. So, and we create another poll question. That's the Sixers need to make a trade during the All-Star break or before. I guess that's during it, right? Throughout it. Not the trade deadline isn't until March 25th. Everybody. So there's plenty of time. So it doesn't, understand that we're not saying the deadline, is this weekend, but they need to make a trade over this off time that they have coming up. Do you agree or disagree with that? I'll disagree with that because I don't think they need to make it. They usually need to make, if they need to make something, they need to make it for the deadline, right? So I don't think they need to make it earlier, or it'd be nice if you were going to make something, you could get it done this time and get everybody coming out for the second half together, right? Would be nice because you're limited on games. I understand that side of it, but I'm okay with waiting to the deadline. I don't think they need to make one during the All-Star break. You got some time. You got to. I said yesterday, and agree, disagree. They have 10 games out the break. They have over the next 10 games fully. These two and 8 more to find out what they are. Right, and then that's it. And then the deadline's here. So you have 8 games essentially, maybe to really try to find out where you are as a basketball team. That doesn't mean you shouldn't make a trade. That just means that I don't need it this week. It can, if it is and something good comes our way, sure. But if we wait until the deadline, I'm not saying we have to make it this week. That's all. So I'll disagree with it.
It's really tough because I'll just say agree just for conversation's sake, because, and I don't want to sound panicky because I'm not panicking at all. We're still as of right now, we're still first in the East. But my biggest thing, and I don't think I am panicking with this. I'm concerned with Seth Curry. I'm concerned with Seth Curry at the moment because, and I understand it could be just the COVID thing, but what was it? 1 for 13 the other night, Tom? Yeah. I know that's in one sample size, but it seems like you look at everything else in the East, right? You look at Milwaukee playing some really good basketball, and you look at the Brooklyn Nets playing phenomenal basketball right now. I don't want to wait for the perfect time. I don't want to just make a move, but I just feel like right now we're in a situation where if Danny Green or Seth Curry, if one of those two guys aren't hitting, we're struggling to finish. We're struggling to win games, and that's with Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid playing really, really well. You know what I'm saying? And it looks like they're going to really take this Tobias Harris thing slow. I don't expect him to be back. I mean, he's not playing tonight. I don't expect to see him on Wednesday, so we're not going to see him until the end of after the break. I'm not asking for a Kyle Lowry trade, but I need something else because the Furkan Korkmaz, thing off the bench is not working. Mike Scott off the bench, it's not working. And Shake Milton's been struggling too. And Maxey over the last month, we could say he's looked like a rookie. That's okay. And I'm not worried about him going forward, but I think we got to get one more body in here some way over the break, just to get the ball rolling. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying we got to go for the Lowry. I'm not saying we need to make a big trade. I'm not saying we need a multiple person trade, but I would like to see some kind of move here or there because I don't want us to start kind of treading water like we are right now and risk, falling maybe 2-3 games back on Milwaukee or Brooklyn, who's playing awesome basketball right now.
Yeah, but I also don't want to panic on this yet. And that's why I say give it 10. We're going to find out where we're at. And then tonight starts it. If Joe, depending on what Joe's deal is, he might see out there. He's out there shooting.
Yeah.
So the fuck this means is very, very questionable. Can I get an update so I can put money on the game? Like I need to know if he's playing because I don't know how we're beating anybody without him playing. I just don't know. Ben's got to go for 50. Like we're banking on that. Good if it happens. Shit. Listen, if you're just tuning in, no matter where you are, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, listen, pound that like, pound that subscribe, pound that follow, whatever you can hit, whatever buttons allow you, whatever platforms allow you, hit them buttons. And we're still not getting the full, the latest on Joe yet. So we'll find out soon, I'm sure.
So this is this just popped up on the screen on the pregame show with Seth Curry. I'll read it to you. I have it paused. So before the 7-game absence, so before the COVID absence for Seth Curry, in 8 games, he was averaging 17 points. He was 60% from the field, 60% from 3, and he was hitting 3.1 3-pointers per game. That was before the break. Since he's come back in 18 games, he's averaged, just under 11 points per game. His field goal percentage has dropped to 39.8. 3-point percentage has dropped to 36.8. And he's only averaging just under 2 3-pointers per game. So I'll turn it to you, Tom. Are you concerned with Seth right now?
I think he's somewhere in the middle of both of them.
Yeah. 45, 45, 46.
Maybe a little less. I don't know. Maybe a little less. But I think he's somewhere in the middle of both of them. Am I concerned? Listen, I'm concerned anybody shooting 1 for 13. You know what I mean? Like a guy, but again, these guys aren't stars. So, I don't know. So, you can get away with these guys, again, if you had just another impactful scorer off your bench. And they don't right now. And that's what they need to find out of these next 10 games.
TTP, you talking about Ogugwa? OG Anunoby? No, I don't think you can come. I don't see them passed on him. I would think that they would try to keep him. It's a good name though. He always kills us, that's for sure.
Oh. Yeah, for sure. I don't know. I just think he's somewhere in the middle. We'll talk about Seth. Like, I don't think he's as good as he shot the rocker, obviously, early on. Or if he's as bad as he shot it, recently. I think he's just somewhere in between there. But yeah, I'm just gonna stay disagree because, like I said, they give it 10, give it 12 games. I think that's where you're at before the deadline. And you're gonna find out too. And then this team all playing together would be nice because then you can have some more sustained substance of guys in roles. You know what I mean?
True.
If Joe doesn't play tonight, now you're without Tobias and Joe. Now all these guys are jumping up in the higher roles. Like that's not what you want. Team's not good enough for that. No team is without their stars, right? So I don't want to panic over Cleveland really because of no Tobias. Like I'm just not going to judge this team without their 3 max money guys. Like you're gonna cough games up like that. That's gonna happen. Now tonight's important. But it's important regardless. Even if Joe doesn't play, right? Yep. But if Joe does play, it's inexcusable to lose. No, not at home. You can't now. Right? You asked this question to me at 9:30 tonight. I might say I agree. Get the ball rolling, right? Because now even though you're without the bias, that's fine. You can't lose 2 games at home in a row, even without the bias. If Joe is playing,
is that true?
It looks like he's in. They keep showing him on the fucking court.
That's hurt us in the past, though, Tom. We know that. They'll show him eating a cheeseburger on the side, but then they'll say 5 minutes later that he's out. I don't know. I just realized I was streaming the entire time, so I was 2 minutes behind. So I didn't even see Joel Embiid yet. Do you agree with what John's saying or what he's asking? Should Seth be moved to the bench?
I wouldn't break up this starting 5. I would just try to get another scorer off my bench somehow. How can I get another guy who can come in here and give me 15 a night off my bench? Where can I find that at? Because that's going to be the difference of this team winning in the playoffs and not. All right, where's that other bench production coming from? Because even if you're running with 8 guys, I need 2 of them to be able to score. And right now I have confidence in one of them being able to score. And I don't even have that much confidence in it. When it comes to Shake, like, you know what I mean? He's hit or miss too. And he's not a good 3-ball shooter. So, I mean.
You know what was working for us in the first month and a half, the reason why we get off to that hot start, I mean, aside from Joel and, the starters playing well, but the first 20 games, we were all so excited about the 2-man game of Tyrese and Shake, right? Because they both came out and they were awesome in the the beginning of the season. They were both scoring at will. Shake was putting up like 20 points a game at least, and Tyrese was playing really well. I think that's a big thing that's hurt this bench also. It's that they have both hit a wall. Tyrese a lot. I mean, he's real. Like you see, like Doc doesn't even really want to even put him out on the court right now because if his little like floater's not going in, nothing's going in right now, and he's not good enough. He's not good enough on defense. He's not bad on. He's not Furkan on defense, but he's not good enough on defense to kind of make up for the lack of scoring that he's going to bring to the table. But they both kind of hit a wall. And then you look at, okay, well, if those two aren't,
neither one are good shooters, right? Sorry, neither one are good shooters yet.
No, it's true.
Like for one, I can deal with Maxey not being there yet, but Shake's got to shoot the ball better, right? Yeah. Like, I mean, I don't need you to be 2 for 2 from 3, but like, dude, can you don't got to be 50%, but can you just shoot it a little bit better? Like, I mean, I feel like he struggled, but I'll give Shake a little bit of leeway from coming back from the ankle, right?
Yes.
So yes. I'll play the ankle game into that. And then Mike Scott at least has showed us a little bit of a pulse as the injuries seems to get better. So that's why I'm saying, you know what? Instead of rushing to it, right? Because we already know we're good with our starting 5. All right. Yeah. So instead of rushing it, why don't we see what we have? That's just my thought process. Why don't we see what we have over 10 to 12 games? And then you know what? We're gonna have our idea. We're gonna know. Right?
Mm-hmm.
That's it. But we're gonna know if we can trust Mike Scott. If we can trust Shake Milton enough, right? If we can rely on them 2 guys. If we can rely on Furkan. If we can rely on, whoever, Dwight, whatever. We're not going to rely on Dwight on scoring. But do you understand what I'm saying? Like that other scoring option. Like, who's going to come off our bench and be able to, give us double digits. And if it's like, okay, if Furk could one night and Scott could the other night and Shake did every night, then you're feeling better about it. But right now it's just like that unknown.
TTP brings up something interesting. He says, I saw a stat somewhere saying that we've only beaten 2 teams over 500. That's kind of alarming to me. Do you buy into that at all, Tom? Or are you somebody that's going to look at kind of the records kind of at the end of the season? Because at the end of the day, does it go back to, you play on who's your schedule type thing?
I don't buy too much into that.
Okay. I agree with you.
They showed they can beat a damn good Lakers team. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I get you. I get them that it could be a little alarming. Well, I mean, we're going to find out. It doesn't mean like, even though the record is what it is, like I would still add bench help. I've been pretty confident about that. I wouldn't mess up the starting 5 because I think they play well together, but I would definitely mess with this bench. I would definitely figure out ways, right, to make it better. So, I mean, I'm all in on that.
Robert brings up, he says, I feel like Danny can be upgraded and then move Danny to the bench. I don't disagree with any of that. My one question, and fam, if you have any of these names, feel free to chime in with them. If you're going to make a trade for an upgrade for a starter, you're most likely going to have to include Danny Green in the deal because of salary. He's making $15 million. So I'm sure there's names out there that are possibilities, but I would really have to think of a name that you could trade for, automatically put in the starting 5, and also keep Danny Green. You know what I'm saying? Like, because when you think, like the Lowry thing, like when you think, okay, if you're getting a starter as in Lowry or, Levine or Hield, Danny has to go in the deal just based off of money. So, fam, if there's any names that you know of out there that you would want, or realistic names that you think we can get without having to put Danny Green in there for the money, feel free. Like I guess, like I don't know. I maybe George Hill's one, but they're different positions. I see it would be tough. You know what I'm saying, Tom? Like you would have to. Danny Green is either, in my opinion, he's either in the starting 5 or he's not on the team. just based off of how the money situation is laid out.
Yeah, I think you can get their bench done. To get your bench done trade wise is you're going to have to give up either expiring contracts or you're going to have to give up some of the young guys. I mean, to me, it's that simple. Like if you want good bench help, you're probably going to have to part ways.
And like we talked about on Friday, do you still? We were like ranking as far as like untouchables, Tyrese, Shake, and Maxey. Would it be fair to say that none of them are untouchable at the moment? Give it based off of the player. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're getting the return, would you label any of those guys as untouchable, Tom?
Maybe Shake, I guess. Shake's untouchable, I guess, because I already know he can score off the bench. The other two aren't untouchable for the right package. No.
Yeah,
they can score right now, and he's a little bit more. He's older than them too, so at least you have that. Because if you're trying to win, you're just trying to get some more veterans in the house.
And I have heard the theory amongst NBA executives who talked about like because we've heard obviously, and we've talked about this time that they're trying to bring in a veteran point guard to run the second team, and a lot of people are like, well, why do you need a veteran point guard? You have Shake Milton. I know. People are speculating that Doc Rivers' end goal with Shake isn't necessarily to run the team, it's to kind of turn him into a spot-up shooter, which he believes can help his three-point shot. You know what I'm saying? To where maybe that's kind of the end goal for Shake, and that can help him. I mean, they're showing him on screen right now. It's that you kind of run Shake off ball like you did kind of last year at the latter part of the season before the bubble, and that can get him going and make him kind of more of a three-point option instead of just running the team.
Yeah,
to kind of take pressure off of
him. It was like a George Hill running the point.
Yep.
And him running the two. Yeah. And I would like Maxey running my point in this situation, but the problem is, I'm not saying Marky Mark saying this, I'm just saying the problem is that to be able to the jumper's not there yet. And that's just part of being young. And like, okay, so part of me doesn't want to give up on him too soon. But if he's in the right deal, and I don't feel like if it's sort of like we were talking yesterday about like a Terrence, now this would be different. But if I could get like a Terrence Ross, right now they wouldn't take Maxey, but they'd be probably a Thibault. I would have to look at it again, but we had like a Terrence Rosser that we thought was a good one. Like a Terrence Ross, like I need another score. That's where it was just where I was going with that. Like I need another scorer who's not 33, 34. Like Terrence Ross has team control for the next 3 years from 30 to 33. That's good years of scoring.
Yeah,
so I'm looking for an identity. Like then I can have Shake run. Shake can run the point there, and or Maxey can run the point, and Shake can run the two, and you could go Ross a little bit at the three sometimes, depending on what kind of lineup you had.
So Terrence Ross, it would have to be. So you say Thibault. So Thibault's making 2.7. It would have to be Mike Scott because of money. So that's 5. So that gets you to 7.7 mil. You want to throw in Furk, who's a 1.7, or you want to go a little bit more? You want to go like Tony Bradley, or no, it would probably be Terrence Ferguson because he's making 4.
Yeah, and he's expiring, right?
Yes, and then probably a pick.
Yep.
First.
Yep, but first. Probably gotta give up point first.
Yep, so we would get Terrence Ross, and they would get Scott, Ferguson, Thibault, and a first.
Yeah, I do it right now.
Yeah.
It's not a shot at Thibault, and it's not thinking Mike Scott can't have a pulse. Like maybe they can. You know what I mean? But right now, like I like Matisse is at least trying to attempt it when he's open, right? And so that's why I give it these 12 days, right? Because like okay, like let's see if some of these guys can start doing this stuff. I don't think we have to give up Maxey, Rob, because think about how many guards they have. Where do they have the room for Tyrese Maxey? They got, they got 2 young guards there already in Cole Anthony and Fultz in point guards. I mean, how many point guards are they going to go with?
They've got Fournier. They've got Fultz. They have Michael, I'm not saying they're all stars, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just listing how many point guards and shooting guards they have. They have Fournier, Markelle Fultz, Cole Anthony, Michael Carter Williams, Dwayne Bacon, and then they've got Terrence Ross. So they have a lot of guards.
Yeah, they have two point guards, like young point guards that they invested in. So, I don't think they want another point guard, but they would want expiring deals. They would want to get out of some of the money. And they would look for the pick. So that's what it would entice them. Terrence Ross isn't a star, so it's not like, you know what I mean. And they're on their way out, going to be the outside looking in on this whole thing, right? I mean, they're lucky if they can find their way into an 8-hole, right? They're lucky. They'll be lucky. They started out hot, and they haven't played hot.
What's wrong with Terrence Ross, Red Sand?
What are we giving up that's so egregious? Joel is playing, obviously. People are saying that, but he is.
They put Scott. So we're going to see Mike Scott in the lineup. So they're done with the Furkan.
Yeah.
Also, this is a bigger lineup too with Sabonis and Turner too. So you're going to have to put Scott on one of these two.
Yeah, for sure. So that's how I look at it. I don't know why Red's saying that'd be such a egregious. What are you giving up? I mean, like I said, I'm not ready to do it right this second. I mean, I'm okay with waiting on it in a second, but Mike Scott's got to show he can shoot the 3-ball for us and get back from that injury, right? Like he has to be able to get back from that injury. But like giving up Thibault is a hard no for guys, like impossible. Like that's why I run from it in a first.
You're really not giving up.
Not for a rental. I'm sorry, it's not for a rental. It's for a guy you have for 3 years. Like you get Terrence for 3 years. You don't get him just for this year or next year. For 3 years.
You're really not giving up that much because let's break it down. Terrence Ferguson, you're giving up a guy he doesn't play. Terrence Ferguson does not play. Mike Scott in a playoff series, you would think, is not going to be playing. You will not see Mike Scott unless you're decimated with injuries. Matisse Thybulle, he's a specialist in the playoffs. So you're giving up if he's the big and also you're giving a first round pick that's going to be in the high 20s. So the most you're giving up is Thybulle. And we know what he is on defense, but he's extremely limited in the playoffs. And I understand, Red saying you're going to need Thybulle in the playoffs, but don't act like we don't have Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid to play defense here. We have plenty of guys play defense. We need guys that can score. We need guys to make a difference off the second unit.
Yeah, our first unit, plays defense. So can you get an identity with your second? And right now, the easiest thing to find when you're talking about bench players is being able to get an identity to be able to score off your bench, right? Like you don't need some of these guys coming off your bench, Red, to be the most palmsy son of a bitches around. At some point, I need some guys who can shoot, who can score it, right? And if I can't score, then that's fine. I know what the Nets have, but I can't base my whole game on that. They also can score.
I was just saying we got to score with them first. We got to be able to put up 115 a game at least.
And you're not starting Thybulle to run them the amount of minutes you want to run them against these guys. I mean, you're talking about a 12-minute run he might get against these guys. I'd much rather have going to the Terrence Ross, right, and being able to run him 22 off my bench, 25, and no, at least I got a guy who can hit open shots because I got a point guard when he is running around and moving. He's going to get guys open looks. I need guys who can hit open looks. I don't have any of that off my bench, right? I don't have an open look talk off my bench. I don't. Where? What's one of them guys? Mike Scott might be the only guy, and Furkan, maybe if you're lucky, that are like open looks.
Tuesday, yeah, it's like once a week he'll hit open looks.
Yeah, once a week it might be the night, but like unless them two guys are hitting open looks, you're in trouble there, guys. Mm-hmm. Like and this team's not in trouble. I'm just saying, bench wise, where's it coming from?
And
where's your 30 a night coming from your bench or 25? In the playoffs, needing other guys to help carry a load through a 7-game series. Where is it?
And we have to remember too, fam, when you talk about this first unit, we know that we have two all defensive pros in Embiid and Simmons. And I know what people say, oh, what happens when the first unit isn't on the court? Well, in the playoffs, what are you going to see a lot of? Your first unit. So in those, like Doc said, you're probably only going to see an eight-person rotation in the playoffs. He's been quoted by saying he doesn't plan on having much for that ninth guy. So you're going to be seeing a lot of Simmons and Embiid in there. The next two guys off your bench is probably going to be the backup center It's probably going to be Dwight if they don't make another move. And it's going to be a score. You know what I'm saying? So I get it. Thibault, I have no complaints. I appreciate it. And he's made a lot of differences as far as defense on this team. Not only this season, but since he's been here. But when you talk about going up against the Nets or the Bucks or any team in the playoff, I already know we can defend like anybody when our first unit's in there, which we're going to see a lot in the playoffs. I need that next guy, aside from Shake Milton, that can give you a guaranteed at least 10 to 15 points a game off your bench. That's the biggest thing, because when you look at the people that are in the teams that have been in the title race, in the championships, not even have won them, they have multiple guys like that off their bench. They have the two big stars, and then they have guys that can flat out score off their bench. And we have one maybe right now.
Yeah, unless Shake can go off for 20 every night, I got to make this deal.
And he could, but he hasn't been like that in about a month and a half. He's got to get back to that. If he can replicate what he was the first 3 weeks of the season, I have no complaints. Then I'm not talking about Terrence Ross right now. Maybe I'm only talking about backup 4 spot. But we haven't seen that in a month and a half. And I love Shake. So if anyone thinks we're hating on Shake, that's not the case. I would say 70% of us on either this show, Wednesdays and Fridays, had Shake Milton as a 6th man of the year candidate. So we have high expectations for Shake, but it's based off of we haven't seen that from him in a month. And a lot of that's because of the injury, but what we see is what we have to judge it off of.
Yeah, this bench did fade, John. John's saying the same thing. And I know people are saying there's no hate on Ferg. I mean, he just is what he is. I mean,
he's not a difference maker. He's not a difference maker. It's okay.
I'm just trying to upgrade my my team a little bit here, specifically just my bench. Right, I'm not out here star hunting, But I mean, you see what like these good 6 men are do for teams, or teams that have deeper benches. And right now, we don't have that consistency off our bench to be like, yep, it's good to go. Like, if it's not a trade, it's going to be buyouts. So it's going to be something, guys. Unless guys start, like I said, unless guys go through, that a 10-game stretch here where they're on fire.
And Nick, I don't think it's hate at all. I mean, I hate Furkan because I go after Greg about it because he loves Furkan. But to me, I would say the biggest thing with Furkan and why he hasn't gotten the respect that some people say and why he's getting hate, it's just based off of one thing, and it's a question with an answer. Can you confidently, with a straight face, look in the mirror or in the camera and say to yourself, Furkan Korkmaz is a pillar of this team in a championship race? No. You can't say that with a straight face, that Furkan's going to be one of the pillars of your team. And that's okay. No, there's nothing wrong with that. It's okay. He's a 10th man on a really good team. That's fine. That nobody's mad at him. But that's why I think people get misconstrued and they say, not Nick, but I'm just saying in exactly, Robert, he's inconsistent. That's the perfect word to say. That's why people say, oh, okay, we'll give him up. We have to improve on him. It's because he gets a lot of, playing time. Doc Rivers gave him a lot of roles and they said, hey, we want Furkan to be a big part of it. And Furkan hasn't lived up to it, but that's okay. That happens a lot. And Red Sand, exactly. Defense and consistency is Furk's biggest issues. And you know what we need off of this bench right now? Consistency. And he's not that.
It's got to be one way or the other. It's got to be, and I said, okay, it's got to be defense. All right. I mean, if you want to have the most defensive unit ever, but you got to be able to score a little bit off your second unit. It's great to have an identity to play defense, and it's great to, have a first unit like we do that's going to play defense. But, at this point, you're not looking for defensive specialists off your bench. Even if you trade Thibault, you're looking for guys who can score it too. Making guys work on the other end is pretty important too, guys. I mean, my goodness. I mean, it's good to play good defense, but I mean, that make guys at least respect that you're going to score on the other end is pretty important. I mean, God, I mean, we smoke Ben about being aggressive. You know what I mean? I mean, I love Tease. I love what he does on the defense side of the basketball. But I mean, there's no aggressiveness there. Come on, there's no like. If he gave you 10 off your bench, you're like, oh my God, what happened? I mean, Jesse, he can be clutch once a month. That's the problem.
Jesse, I love you, but your two comments, again, it's not directed to you, Jesse. The two comments you dropped, the Court can be clutch, and Furkan has made big three. That's why I dislike Furkan. It's because it's like those two things. Okay, like Tom said, okay, one Tuesday every 3 weeks he's going to do that. But what is he doing for you those other games when he's giving you nothing? And he has a plus minus of minus 15. You know what I'm saying? Like, sure, he can make big shots. A lot of guys can. But I'll go back to it. Is Furkan Korkmaz good enough and clutch enough to be able to keep a steady role on a championship team? No. If he
for that, there's no room for it.
No. If we have Furkan as one of our go-to guys off the bench, we are in trouble. We are. And that's with everybody else playing well. We should know this, guys. I mean, how many times in the past handful of years, just as the Sixers, you look at, oh my God, if we would have had one more piece off the bench. We're in a position now to where we are almost there. We know what we have starting wise. We didn't have that luxury in the past. So that's why, hey, if it takes moving away from Furkan and replacing him with somebody or trading him, I don't think twice about it. I don't.
No, we didn't have to trade him in that deal. That's the funny thing.
No, he's still here with years of control. He could be whatever we want him to be.
Yeah, I'm just talking about having to deal Thibault and Mike Scott in a pick. I mean, Terrence Ferguson, it doesn't matter. And people are like up in arms over Terrence Ross. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what you guys want. I mean, we want guys who can spot up and shoot the three ball a little bit, who can do a few things, who can honestly come off your bench and be a weapon. I mean, where is the weapons off of this bench? Where are the consistent weapons? I mean, go look over a guy's box score then if you want to see consistency from Terrence Ross and the rest of this bench. You know, the only guy you can even put in the conversation with him is Shake, and Shake's not even as consistent as that guy is. And that's not crowning Terrence Ross. That's just saying, I'm not saying he takes you alone to the NBA Finals. I'm just saying he puts you in a good spot. He puts you in a lot better of a spot, especially offensively, and being able to get, 25 to 30 off your bench a night. Not just by him. I'm saying like as a whole.
Anthony, that's a great name. So many people have asked me that, and I have yet to really dive into it. Larry Nance Jr. for your backup four. So he's making $11.7 million. So it's definitely feasible. How many years of control? 3 years. So you would have 2 more years of control in addition to this year, Tom. So that's big. 11 mil. So you would say, okay, you give him Scott. Give him, because I don't think you would have to give up. You don't think you'd have to give up Thibault in that, right, Tom? You could probably just give him Furkan, Ferguson, Scott, and a pick, right?
Yeah, I mean,
for Larry Nance when they're not even trying to win right now.
Larry Nance is just, you know what I mean? So
he's having a good season, decent season. Scoring about 10 he'd be scoring about 10 off your bench. But I agree. I mean, he's probably like fourth option for me as far as backup 4 spots.
Yeah, he's also been hurt for a while.
It's true. I forgot about that.
So he hasn't played most of the year, or at least since February 8th. I know
so he's still hurt? Never mind.
Yeah, he didn't play the other.
No, I'm not doing that.
I mean, the only problem with him is he need the minutes to score. You know what I mean? And be impactful a little bit. Because, I don't know. He doesn't shoot the 3 ball well enough for me to be a 4.
True. And you're right. He's one of these guys that he needs minutes to get going. He's an energy guy.
Yeah, he doesn't do it for me. But, not for that. Like, I would just hold on to it for that. I was like, okay, I'll just go to the buyout game.
Yeah. I would test my luck on trying to buy out Blake. I mean, I would try getting Blake Griffin anyway. But, yeah, it's true, Robert. He's more of a defensive guy than a scorer. DeLon Wright or Wayne Ellington? Well, I know both of them kill us when we play the Pistons. I know that. Let me see here, Don, because I know you dropped it in there.
I'd rather have Wayne.
Me too. Yeah, DeLon Wright doesn't really do it for me. Nick Singleton, what's your ideal team going into the playoffs? What, like the 8-man rotation? Is that what you're saying, Nick? Or 9-man rotation? It's a good question.
Yeah. Right now, or like I don't know how else to go about that one. Yeah, I mean, right now, it's
unless you want to project like moves they're going to make, like add somebody who you would trade for.
I mean, it's Shake, Dwight, and probably Scott. Maybe Thibault. I mean, that's like as deep as you go.
Yeah, it would be for me. It would be starting 5.
Oh, you're talking about ideal team. Like, yeah. I mean, it's tough to do that because I don't know who's available. You know what I mean?
Mm-mm.
Like who's really available, who's really not available. You know, that's what makes that so tough on like ideal. Like, just give me another bench score, and I would say that's ideal.
Rob, I don't know if we're going to be able to get George and Terrence Ross. I don't know if you would have the assets to give up to money wise to do both. I'm not sure.
I do like a George Hill and like a Wayne Ellington.
Yeah. What's Wayne making? Let me see.
Like, I feel like he's probably not breaking the bank.
He seems like a 13 mil guy at most to me. Just knowing the name. Sorry, Don. I'm looking for the Pistons. I had to scroll all the way down to 15th. Sorry.
It's tough.
Oh God, no! Jesus. Wayne Ellington's making 2.5 mil 1 year, and DeLon Wright's making 9 mil, and you would have another year on his deal. So you would say you would rather have Wayne, Tom?
Yeah, I'd rather have Wayne.
Yeah, you can give up nothing. You can give up friggin' Furcon and a pick for Wayne.
No, I don't think he'll be bought out because, like John said, it's next to nothing. So, I mean, there are two guys that you could get. Maybe they are. I doubt they're bought out, but there are two guys that I could see you getting, maybe even for nothing.
George Hill's making 9.5 this year, and you would have another year on his deal next year.
Okay, so George Hill, maybe, I don't think he's getting bought out, but you could probably get him by not having to give up a lot, and you could probably get Wayne Ellington for next to nothing. I mean, you could probably get him for a fucking second-round pick.
Wayne, you would have to give up a friggin'. You can probably get away with giving Ferguson and a pick, like a guy you're not even using.
Seriously. So, I mean,
well, you see, what did they give up for Derrick Rose? I mean, the Derrick Rose thing was friggin' pennies on the dollar. What was that? Dennis Smith in a second?
Yeah, and Dennis Smith was only to try to get the money to match.
Yeah,
that's the only reason. So, I mean, you don't got to get the money to match. They're just looking for picks now. You know what I mean? They just look for picks. So, give them a pick and give them an expiring contract and call it a day.
Me too, Marky Mark. Me too. John says, are you guys surprised that no one has signed Boogie Cousins yet? No. Because, I mean, there's no rush. There's no deadline right now.
No, I already cleared waivers.
Did he? I didn't see that.
Nobody wanted them then.
And
I don't think he was getting a lot of money on that buyout either. I don't think he was making a lot of money there.
He's got to get claimed eventually, though, right? Unless there's some kind of something that hasn't come out.
I mean, I guess somebody would. I would guess somebody would.
Unless teams saw Embiid dominate them in that final game in Houston and said, well, damn, barbecue chicken. Because that was his final game in Houston, I think, right, Tom?
Yeah.
When Embiid took him to.
I'm just wondering. Listen, he could go to nobody could pick him up, but I feel like a lot of teams also are in a position like not as the Nets, where, and even the Nets probably feel better about themselves, where they were like after the Harden deal, where they feel like they had to make a move. Like, I don't feel like there's a lot of teams in the East that are like panicking for a move either. You know what I mean?
True.
Yeah.
Because they're all bunched. Everybody's bunched right now. So where they don't know if they're playoff contenders or if they want to tank type thing. You know what I'm saying?
What do we need too? Because there hasn't been a huge sample. Like usually you're going to get a good chunk of games in, and then you're going to know what you need by a deadline, right? You know what I'm saying? Now
Sure.
You don't have that. I mean, you're getting there. You're getting there with the chunk. You're definitely getting there with the chunk. But I think a lot of teams are like, okay, well, we've either played better basketball or you're the Sixers case, you're first in the East. But if you're the Sixers, you gotta start feeling the pressure from the Nets in Milwaukee and even Miami. Like you got to start now feeling that pressure of those teams, right? You don't maybe have to feel as much pressure from the Celtics per se, but you should start feeling their pressure too because they're still good.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if Kemba gets back. But you got to feel pressure at least them 4 teams. At least starting to feel it a little bit.
Am I crummish for saying that I'm kind of happy to see the Knicks back in contention? Is that wrong of me as a Philly fan? If it is, tell me, because it probably is that I said that.
No, I mean, I would say I'm glad to see him back in contention for the rivalry. Right? Like
yeah.
That's how I would play that one.
And plus, there's a lot of players I like on that. I've always liked on that team. I think we both always liked Randall, and he's having a hell of a season. I've always liked Derrick Rose. I've always liked RJ Barrett. You know what I'm saying? I'm good and I'm glad to see that. And also, I would say 90% of the country when they saw Thibodeau go there, they're like, oh, that's not going to work. Just because Thibodeau's gone so many places and it hasn't worked. And like you said, Tom, it's to look at like a Friday night matchup of Sixers Knicks the last handful of years and feel nothing. Just doesn't feel right to me. You know what I mean? Yeah.
No, I mean, it's been like that for a long ass time. I mean, I sort of feel bad for Knicks fans per se. Like you've sat through that much losing. But it's better. It's better. It's probably better for basketball that they're at least better. So Joe with an early basket.
It's good. I don't think I'm reaching here. It's good to see that. Just him to get his first shot going in. You know what I'm saying? Because he's been struggling a little bit getting going in the last, I would say, 4 games, would you say, Tom? Yeah. I mean, I say that and he put up 44 the other night in overtime, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, his jumper's been a little off.
A little weak. He's been missing everything a little weak.
But this is a big one for the Sixers tonight. I mean, you definitely don't want to lose 2 in a row at home. Not the team that we think we are. And I know there's no Tobias, so that's where, okay, I'll deal with it one night. Guy's not stepping up. I'm sure I'm not going to deal with it for 2. You know what I mean?
I'm very interested to see who they have defensively, who they have Scott matched up against. Because correct me if I'm wrong, they just had Danny Green on Sabonis. Just interesting here, just how they're going to work the sizing. Take it, Ben.
No, I thought Joe was down there on him, but I could be wrong. He could have just been down there to block the shot. Yeah, I mean he can't hit water if he fell out of a boat. Yeah, they got Joe on Sabonis.
Okay. Oh, they've got Danny on Miles Turner. Really? Yeah, that's not going to work.
Doesn't even look. Is that a mistake?
Look right.
Like that's got to be a mistake.
Yeah, that doesn't seem right to me. Why wouldn't they have Mike Scott on Turner just based off of size?
Yeah, size alone.
Especially because Danny Green moves 0.5 miles an hour.
There we go.
Bang!
Yeah.
All right, good to see.
Somebody needed that one, huh? I mean, my goodness. I haven't seen the bench
that excited in years.
No.
Oh, good block there, Danny. Is that who is that? Is that McDermott? Who is that?
Doug McBuckets.
Dougie McBuckets.
Doug McBuckets trying to go for 30. Oh my God, Ben.
Come on, can you make a decision, Ben?
It's too cute. Too cute.
Oh, we gotta look at the Turner game tonight.
Yeah, Turner looking at his hand.
Stop it. You put up 7 points last time we saw you when you said you were going to put up more than Embiid. We forget. We don't forget here.
That's Freddie Mitchell.
Also blocked us on Instagram.
Oh, rightfully so. What too? What too?
Oh, by the way, Tom, I know we were talking about this a couple weeks ago. Rager has officially blocked us again on Instagram.
Oh, double block.
Yeah. 2-for-1 special.
Double whammy. I mean,
I don't think we posted about Rager. It was before our post this morning about how he, when he looks at Rager and good ball, Joe. When he looks at Rager and Ortega-Whiteside, he sees T.O. and Reggie.
Yeah. Fucking unbelievable. His block said,
oh, Dougie McBucket's going for 30.
This rating might be going for 40.
It's okay, Don. We're not big fans of him either. It's fine. Rooting for him, but the feeling's mutual, Don. A lot of softness coming from the Instagram social media of one Jalen Rager.
Seems like a lot of Eagles.
Yeah, a lot of talking, no substance.
A lot of these young Thundercats up in their feelings. What I see. It's not just.
There you go, Ben. I will ask you guys real quick on the NBA stuff. So we put out a post this morning talking about how big of a difference 4 years can make when you look at the NBA standings. So on this day in 2016, the bottom 4 seeds in the East were the 76ers.
Our boy Mike.
Love it. Got to get him going, especially for the Hive. Get some high morale for the Hive. I love that too. As soon as Tommy March says in the chat, Mike Scott is a bum, it's
yeah.
Love that. Right on cue, huh, Tommy? Back in 2016, the Sixers were the 15th seed, the Nets were the 14th seed, the Knicks 13th seed, and the Bucks 12th seed. Now you're looking at it to where the Sixers are the 1 seed, Nets 2, Bucks 3, Knicks 4. So looking at the standings, like we talked about, a lot of it's jump. Was that Simmons?
Yeah, again.
Love that.
Again.
I'll read you the top 10 seeds because of the tournament. You tell me who the biggest surprise is. So you got Sixers 1 seed, Nets 2 seed, Bucks 3 seed. You've got the Knicks 4, Celtics 5, Heat 6, Raptors 7, Hornets 8, Bulls 9, Pacers 10.
Probably the Hornets. Just being in the dance.
Yeah, good for them too.
That's where you were going with that. Like, who's just the most surprise?
Yeah. Biggest surprise, either positively or negatively. I would say that my biggest surprise is the Celtics, how bad they've been so far.
Oh yeah, on the negative side. On the negative side for sure, it's them. But on a positive, I'd say it's the Hornets, because I don't think anybody considered, like, any of the experts were gonna probably put them in the playoffs. But good for them, because that's been an organization that hasn't been able to hit on anything. So it's looking like, they're at least going in a better direction. So I'll say they're a surprise.
And then aside from the Knicks, obviously the Knicks, good for them. Obviously, they I would say they're the biggest surprise. Also, just them being in the top 4 seed. Never thought we would ever see that ever again.
Yeah, them being a top 4 seed is a surprise. Them being a playoff team, maybe not so much. Especially with getting Rose too, with what they already have. I think that makes them a little bit of a surprise, for sure. To be top 4, period. Randall's played great, but Barrett's gotten better, and then you add Rose to that mix, and they can score it. So they can absolutely score it.
Tommy asked us a question. Realistically, how far can this team go finals? Yeah, they can. They can go as far as any team. If they make the right move at the deadline, and your core is playing, if Embiid continues to play well, if Simmons playing aggressive, Tobias is doing his thing, and the role players fill their roles, they can win the championship. I would say more realistically, I would say just a finals appearance. But no, if you get to the finals, you always have a chance to win one because you're playing great basketball.
Yeah, I would say Eastern Conference Finals. Realistically, right now, as constructed, I think it's fair. I think it's been fair from the start of the season. That's what I put my expectations on. So I'm not going to jump because they're number one team in the East and say, well, realistically, you have to get to the finals. Nah, it's been Eastern Conference Finals or bust for me. So I'll say realistically, right now, it's constructed Eastern Conference Finals or bust. But we all know that can shift if different moves are made, right? Or whatever, right? Or you're just playing like, I don't know, you winners of 10 in a row or something, right? And you really separate yourself in the East, right? Then you start raising your expectations. But right now, I think that it is what it is. Like they realistically should be in the Eastern Conference Finals.
So I'll give you the scenario, Tom. If they go out and they get Lowry and they add, I'm not even going to give a name because I don't know who the name would be, a stretch four. So they improve the stretch four spot. Would that raise you to finals?
I guess what I'm giving up, I would need to, you know what I mean? I don't know.
So you'd be moving. So you would lose Danny. So he would be gone. And let's say you put Maxey in the deal. Say Maxey, and a pick, and like Ferguson or something. You know what I'm saying? Like lower level guys. So you're losing. So you're getting rid of Maxey and Danny, and let's say Scott. But you bring in Lowry and a stretch four.
Yeah, I mean you're closer, I guess. I mean, you know what I mean? I guess you're closer. I still think it puts you right in the Eastern Conference Finals, though. You know what I mean? Like, it depends exactly what they give up, and but to be fair with it, I that's where I still would have them. And then go win that. You know what I mean? They haven't been there yet, so for me to, you know what I mean? It's like hard for me to like put them past that point. If that makes sense. I know like Lowry has, but like this team hasn't.
Yeah, true. Frank just texted me saying the sports hounds were supposed to go at 7:15. What? Really?
Oh, then we're out.
Oh.
Hey, stay tuned to the sports hound.
Breaking news.
We out, peeps. That's how that